Hello, faculty and students of the UIC Lavender Graduating Class of 2020. I'd like to kick off this momentous occasion with a deep breath. Now that I've exhaled massive amounts of gratitude for being here with you all today, I must say that I'm honored to be here to send off this class with well wishes and hopefully some tidbits of useful guiding experiences. My name is Sam Kirk. I'm a multicultural, multidisciplinary artist, wife, world traveler, nature lover, venture card-carrying avid aficionado of the culture, auntie, co-parent of a Riley mini schnauzer, and proud Southsider. I believe a silver lining in the current state of our world has encouraged many of us to stop, take a breath, reevaluate what we have, and had all along, while forcing us to find more creative ways of problem solving. For the sake of humanity, I truly hope these new rediscovered abilities or superpowers continue to be remembered and utilized beyond the time frame of the healing of our planet. I'm an ardent believer in the Toni Morrison quote, "This is precisely the time when artists go to work. There is no time for despair, no place for self-pity, no need for silence, no room for fear. We speak, we write, we do language. That is how civilizations heal." We're on a wild ride called COVID-19, and the day-to-day worries may still be valid, but also pale in comparison. Hey, we've all made it this far, so let's continue to thrive, keep showing up, live and face what scared us before we had to survive a global pandemic. Let's get to work. So much of my work has to do with life's varying experiences. The multifaceted layers are what ultimately determine who we become. It's what makes us unique. These stories of a wide range of occurrences are the layers of what makes up our lives. As a teenager, I felt this painting that I created of hands reaching up from the ground was trying to grasp the changes that were happening within my body. It represented me as I was begging for someone to talk to in this world. The school didn't see it that way. The nudity was deemed to be sexual and evil by the nuns in my Catholic high school. They wanted to suspend me. And this was my first lesson in the power of the unknown and the world I created at the end of a paintbrush. This was the power of art. Fortunately, with the support of my art teacher, Miss Mayers, I wrote an essay to defend my work. Both she and I fought for this piece to not be used against me. And we won. This moment informed me of the power of my voice and the power of advocacy. These moments ultimately cemented the role art would have in my life. When I graduated college, I double majored, 2 BFAs with a focus in interior design and marketing communication. But it was the lens as an artist that provided me extraordinary filters through my travels into new neighborhoods, cities, and countries. This fused facet of art is what truly adds value to my life's experience and work beyond what has been taught. I could sit here and tell you, you have this degree, you're going to soar. But the truth is, to actually get somewhere, you have to get out of your comfort zone, gain some tangible skills beyond the textbooks or what others tell you you must do, including myself. I've learned life experiences happen beyond the classrooms. They happen in conversations, on the street, inside homes, community centers, businesses, and other countries where people live much different lives than we do. This helps us to stay balanced as we leap into the next chapters of our lives. When I graduated college, I spent several years in advertising. It was a combination of constant joy and discomfort. I was partially out, but didn't really talk about my personal life. I was there to work. When my coworkers frequently shared their personal stories, I was afraid to tell mine. Through the work and my personal experience, advertising did teach me the importance of storytelling and provided many of the entrepreneurial skills that I still use today. It trained me to give speeches so that in spite of my fears, I can also choose to be part of a special moment like this. Learning how to redirect those fears and channel it into something better than you imagined is a life skill that I often reach into life's tool bag to use. In 2010, I left my successful advertising career and vaulted into starting my own business. My supervisor at the time asked me how I expected to make a living as an artist. She scoffed at me and made sly and direct remarks that it wasn't possible. I was taken back to that moment in high school. All I could think was, she doesn't see me. So when doubt entered my body, I knew I couldn't work with this person anymore. So I decided to take a chance on me. And it was scary. We were in the middle of a recession. I had a mortgage. I was in a new relationship. And looking back, I was nowhere near as prepared as I needed to be. But when you really want something, it helps to quiet the fears. Opening my business confirmed there's a difference between dreaming of what you can become and actually living the dream. I was tired of fantasizing about more time in my studio, waiting for the hours to tick by until I could create something meaningful. I started my business because I had more to say about our communities. I had stories to share, and not just my own, of the many people I've met throughout my travels and places I've lived. I wanted to create platforms for those who hadn't figured out how to use their voices yet, and paint reflections to help them recognize how powerful their voices are. I became a public muralist to use the walls of our cities as an amplifier to my voice and theirs. I may be a soft speaker, but what my mind and heart have to share multiplies in volumes. To paint pictures that celebrate and honor us, that challenge social issues and spark those necessary, sometimes uncomfortable conversations. There's something about a 12-foot-high woman in a rainbow hijab stretched across an entire block in Times Square that will force people to stop and feel something. I dreamt for years of having my work in Times Square. In my dream, I was imagining a 2-second billboard appearance. Instead, I got a whole week during New York World Pride, with 5 million visitors in addition to the 8 million New York City residents. To see marginalized communities on a larger-than-life scale, prompting people to start these dialogues and simply see us. It's been surreal and soulfully rewarding. This experience was also felt in other works, but more notably in our city for the Lincoln Park Community Services mural on Sedgwick. This piece presents faces and obstacles of fellow Chicagoans who are often regrettably ignored on a massive scale, while reflecting on true stories of hope. I hoped I would be able to fulfill my calling to do this forever. In spite of what we may be called to do, there isn't always a clear trajectory. There are still obstacles and doubts. My fear isn't gone, it's present. As a victim of multiple hate crimes, fear always pays me a visit from time to time. In 2018, I was asked to paint the Sister Cities mural in Morocco as a celebration of a 35-year cultural exchange between Chicago and Casablanca. My wife and I were on the plane heading to the coast of Africa when the pain and fear of a hate crime from 20 years ago came rushing back to me. I was scared. I was anxious. I was sad. We were preparing to temporarily go back in the closet. But I couldn't pass up the opportunity to challenge some beliefs, open some minds, to be the first woman to paint a mural in a Muslim country that forbids LGBTQ relations, simply my existence. But here I was on my way to complete this next and larger than life, bigger than fear art piece with my wife. A 5-story mural of 2 women being celebrated, painted by 2 queer women. We had to hide our identities while we were there, but I knew those who saw the process would be changed. And this was confirmed by some of the reactions and questions that we were asked. I knew people would look up my name, and ultimately my truth would be revealed. I was grateful for the women who presented this opportunity to me. They opened one of many doors, which I take seriously in paying it forward. I could have said no, and for a dozen reasons the answer would have been accepted. But if I did, I would have failed myself more than anyone else. I learned life happens when the intimidating decisions you make put you in the exact place you want to be. There's no doubt it will require more hard work. Making careful selections about who is in your circle with a balance of good, persistent work and people who challenge you, open doors for you, and are willing to have those difficult conversations overall. This is what helps you grow. The process can be gut-wrenching, scary with its unfamiliarity, and feel nearly impossible to overcome. But the moment you make that decision to at least try and stay focused to the outcome, you've already faced the most difficult part. When I began my business, I thought often about our LGBTQ plus community and how my business could be a part of change. I regularly think about the struggles that still exist for all of us. Our laws have improved, but somehow many of the statistics haven't. Our youth homelessness rate is still at 40%. Suicide is 5 times higher for our youth versus heterosexual youth. Transgender women still have an average life expectancy of 35 years. Why? Why? And even though we're here today as college graduates, this new socioeconomic status does not diminish the effect on all of us, nor does it deplete our responsibilities to speak up for those who cannot. When we accomplish feats like these, graduating from a respected university and acquiring degrees in fields where we are needed, we open the possibilities for change in our community and change for ourselves. I don't know where you'll end up, or whether the companies you work for and the coworkers you work with will accept you. But what's important is that you accept you. It may sound cliche, but it's vital. Because you will have the opportunity to hold positions that can change employment patterns. You will also have the opportunity to take a seat at the table, to share your knowledge, to share your life experience, to project your voice and be heard. You must be you and all of you to do this well. There will be moments of doubt and fear, but the more you hear and recognize your voice, it won't be so unfamiliar or strange. It's what we do when we are presented with these moments that will determine the outcome of our lives. The lessons are in the layers. With every step of your life, be true and be kind to yourself. It took me years to get here because I was hiding. I thought hiding kept me safe, but it didn't. I've finally found the route, and I hope despite any fears from the current moment we are in, we trust that when everything is uncertain, everything that is important becomes clear. As Frederick Douglass said, without struggle, there is no progress. So whether it's your circumstances or reality, I hope you will believe in yourself and begin the path to your life today. If you find that you're struggling on which path to take, what often helps me is shifting my focus to something greater than myself. Volunteer, or try to create the world you wish to see at the end of a paintbrush on a larger than life scale. Just don't do yourself or the world any further disservice of not hearing what you have to say. Choose now. Congratulations.